إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على محمد سبحان الله والحمد لله ولا إله إلا الله والله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن أمير المؤمنين وإمام المتقين عليا ولي الله أشهد أن أمير المؤمنين وإمام المتقين عليا حجة الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح حي على خير الأعمال حي على خير الأعمال الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم اجعل قلبي بارا وعملي سارا وشقارا ورزقي دارا وأولادي أبرارا واجعل عند قبر نبيك صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم مستقرا وقرارا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين اللهم صل على
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله الذي كان موجودا قبل حدوث الأشياء ويبقى بعد فناء الأشياء تفرد بالأولية والقدم ووسم كل شيء ما عداه بالفناء والعدم كما قال عز شأنه كل شيء هالك إلا وجهه وكل نفس ذائقة الموت وقال كل من عليها فان ويبقى وجه ربك ذو الجلال والإكرام سبحان من لا يخفى عليه اختلاف النيات ولا يعزب عنه ماس العباد في الخلوات سبحان الله الذي منه خلقة العباد وإليه المعاد فمن يعمل مثقال ذرة خيرا يره ومن يعمل مثقال ذرة شرا يره نشهد أن لا إله إلا هو الملك الذي لا ينازع في ملكه ولا يضاد في حكمه يعذب من يشاء بما يشاء كيف يشاء ويرحم من يشاء بما يشاء كيف يشاء تعذيبه المسيئين وعدله تفضل ونشهد أن محمدا سيد المرسلين وخير المبشرين والمنذرين صلى الله عليه وآله الهداة المهديين من ركب سفينته النجاة واهتدى ومن تخلف عنها ضل فغرق وهوى أوصيكم عباد الله بالاعتصام بالتقوى فإنه حبل متين وأروة وثقى فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى وقوله الحق وهو أصدق القائلين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ولا تحسبن الذين قتلوا في سبيل الله أمواتا بل أحياء عند ربهم يرزقون صلوات على محمد. I begin by advising myself and all of you to practice the taqwa and the piety of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as is the best of provisions. The verse that I recited is mashhur and ma'roof ayat of Surah Al-Imran, ayat number 169, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addresses by saying, do not consider those who were slain in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be dead. Instead, they are alive and they are seeking their sustenance near Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. From this ayat and many such ayat, the concept of shahadat and martyrdom comes into mind, especially when we are going through these ayyam-e-azah. Shahadat is something which is a common theme, knowing the shahadat of Sayyid al-Shuhada and his companions in the plains of Karbala, and the continuous sacrifices by the family members and the household of Imam Hussein in the city of Kufa, later on in Sham. Even if they may not have given their lives in the city of Sham or in the place known as Sham at that time, still the sacrifices were huge and humongous and could not be undermined or could not be looked at anything less than what was given in Karbala. So with that anticipation, with that understanding of the shahadat of Sayyid al-Shuhada, Imam Hussein ibn Ali alayhi wassalam, we understand that shahadat is an institution which builds the society. If you want to look at the societies and look at our society in that general, blood of shaheed enters the body of the society which was dead. And that's what was happening at that time in Karbala. That's what was happening at time in Medina and Mecca and other places where Muslims were inhabited. It brings back the life again. Shahadat is not giving into the hands of the enemy with your last breath, rather continue to strive. Life of Sayyid al-Shuhada is like that water, which is the source of life, rescued the tree of Islam from drying up and dying down. That's why the leader of freedom, Imam Hussein, is remembered forever. The law of transition and transformation, depreciation, and something becoming obsolete is common. We know that there are things that either get transitioned into appreciation, or as time passes by, things depreciate. And then eventually they become obsolete. Nobody really remembers them. And it's something which is a common phenomenon. Things that you grew up using, those are obsolete now. Type of phones that you grew up using are obsolete now. These are materialistic things. Similarly, many people that lived in that time, when you were younger, they're no longer around. They didn't do anything worth mentioning. They're gone. They're obsolete. They're no longer mentioned. And the depreciation of certain things that do remember or do remain, that also kind of starts to come down. So if there is something that remains for that long, it starts to become what? Depreciated. Meaning people don't really pay much attention to it. Yeah, it was a hot topic at that time. As many phenomena that have happened in the recent past, you look at it, something that was really in the news, it was a hot topic, and then as the time passes by, murur-e-zaman, what does it do? The value depreciates. So this is the common phenomena that we see. Then things are then forgotten. You see the mountains, which you suppose to be stationary, while they drift like passing clouds, as the Quran says, وَتَرَى الْجِبَالَ تَحْسَبُهَا جَامِدَةً وَهِيَ تَمَرُّ مَرَّ السِّحَابِ. Sun will cease to shine and the moon will fade away. إِذَا الشَّمْسُ كُوِّرَتْ وَإِذَا النُّجُومُ انْكَدَرَتْ. These are the things that have always existed. Sun has always been there. Moon has always been there. The mountains have been there for many, many years. Millions of years for that matter, the formation of these mountains. But there will come a time, Quran is referring to that these mountains will also, be floating like marra sahab, like the clouds are floating. The sun and the moon, they will cease to exist. The best example of this is in human beings' physical formation and the change from birth till our death. That insan can remain alive, not physically, but it has left behind some sort of a legacy. Now, a positive legacy can also keep you alive. A negative legacy can also keep your name alive. You want to know which legacy that you want to leave behind. Shaheed is the biggest mujahid, and shahadat is the highest level of jihad. Sacrificing oneself and leaving behind your family to connect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could not have been put in better words than what Imam Hussein said, تَرَكْتُ الْخَلْقَ طُرًّا فِي هَوَاكَ وَأَيْتَمْتُ الْعَيَالَ لِكَيْ أَرَاكَ. That I left the khalq and the creation, all I left them behind. طُرًّا فِي هَوَاكَ, for your desire, O Allah. أَيْتَمْتُ الْعَيَالَ, I made my children yatim so that I may witness you and the power and the beauty in you. Preferring the wish of God over their own. Jihad means to give your soul, give up your name, give up your friends, give up your wealth, your maqam, your rank, turn away from luxuries. That's what jihad means. Jihad is suppressing your anger, not hating except for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Jihad means to act against our desires. Mujahid begins with his own reform. Yes, you don't ever point at a mujahid and say, well, that person never did anything to himself. How is he going preaching others? The biggest sacrifice that he made with his life. So he starts or she starts with her own reform and then invites others to come on the path. Mujahid chooses the path that leads to his objective and steers away from the path which his whims and desires want. He goes toward in that direction which is their objective and their aim. Even if there might be what? Even if there might be thorns on the way. Even if the path may not be that easy for them to undertake, they keep the objective. Now, how many times has it happened that you had an objective in your mind, but because of the toughness and the difficulties of the path and the obstacles that you encountered, your conviction was not as strong, and then you turned back? How many times has it happened to us? Whether physically speaking, going to a specific place that you headed out, and then because of certain impediments, physical obstacles, that you turn back. Or when it comes to your intentions and your irada to do something, and then because you saw, no, this is not going to be easy to achieve, let's just not even bother going through with it. That's not what the mujahid does. That's not what the shaheed does. When they have made their conviction and determination to go ahead and sacrifice themselves, leave everything behind, then there's no turning back. Mujahid is merciful. He has akhlaq, good akhlaq for that matter. He's sabur, not just sabir. It's one thing to be sabir. It's another thing to be sabur. Meaning what? The difference between the two is sabir today is sabir, maybe tomorrow they're no longer sabir. Meaning this ability to have patience. I might be showing some patience today, but tomorrow I'll get so agitated that there's no patience in me. You say, well, this is not the same person. Yesterday he was so calm and so patient. Well, because I have this attribute of sabir in me one day, and it may not be there tomorrow. Sabur is someone who's constantly patient. Meaning what? This ability exists regardless of what happens day in and day out. So the mujahid is not only merciful, has good akhlaq, sabur, forgiving, is a well-wisher. Secret of shahadat of Imam Hussein is the following thing. Number one, to awaken the heedless. Why is Imam Hussein stepping out of the comfort zone to put himself into harm's way? To awaken the heedless. Number two, illuminate the path of guidance for mankind. People were wandering around, not being able to make a right choice. Give in to the Khalifa of the time. Give in to Yazid. Make covenant, make allegiance with Yazid. So what's wrong with that? That's where the society was headed, where Hussein said, no. Mithli la yubaye mithla. Someone like me does not do bay'at to someone like Yazid. Encourage people to defend Islam. This is your right. The same man, if you don't defend, tomorrow what he'll do, he'll strike in Medina. He'll desecrate the mosque of Rasulullah. If you don't stop him, the history tells us he destroyed the Kaaba as well. He attacked the Kaaba in the year 62 and 63 after Hijrah. Subsequent years, go look into the history, what he did after the massacre of Karbala. To alleviate zulm and fasad. Imam is not standing up because he wants to protect his own family. There's some sort of, vendetta that he has, this personal agenda. No, he's there to go ahead and lift the zulm and tyranny for everyone, including, of course, his own family member, and fasad. And to revive the religion. What happens sometimes is religion is there, but the teachings have become so maskh. Maskh means what? They're so manipulated, they're so mixed with the right and wrong that you can't really see the right picture. Sometimes things that you might think are right, they're actually have been, tampered with. And that becomes the norm of the society. And then you start accepting it. That's what Imam Hussein has set out to do. To do what? Revive the religion. And lastly, to irrigate the tree of virtues and righteousness with his own blood. That's the rarity do you find. A lot of us stand up to do good, but we only go to an extent. And then we say, well, when it comes to this, I'm going to step back. I'm not willing to go through by irrigating with my own blood. Imam Hussein is prime example. 1400 years have passed, and yet every year he's remembered the same way, if not more, if not better. What is the reason behind this everlasting effect? There's not a person in the world who has minimum access to what's happening in their surrounding, not know who Hussein was. Who is Hussein? There's not a person. Rarely do you find, because now the media covers all of this. Who is Hussein? It begs the question, why so many people are still remembering him 14 centuries. Remember, depreciation, the law of things being forgotten and becoming obsolete. Things and the people that you knew in your time 50 years ago, 60 years ago, they're no longer relevant and you don't remember them anymore. But then there are certain people who left such an imprint in the society that they are everlasting and ever living. You can also become everlasting if you associate your goals and align it with the goals of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's what Hussein did. He did not have personal goals or agenda. He aligned his goals and objectives with the objectives of what this deen demands, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was asking for. So what is the reason behind the everlasting effect? Allah gave the example of baqa, of haqq. That haqq always prevails. لَقَدْ جَاءَ الْحَقِّ وَزَهَقَ الْبَاطِلِ إِنَّ الْبَاطِلَ كَانَ زَهُوقًا. That indeed haqq has come and batil has exited. And batil was always bound to exit. Batil was always bound to perish. Haqq is something which always remains. So I'll give you this example from Surah Ra'd, ayat number 17. Beautiful analogy. Quran has a lot of tamthilat and analogies, examples. With these examples, Allah wants you to ponder, think about what is the example being given. Is it merely the physical aspect of the example, or there's something behind it? فَأَمَّا الزَّبَدُ فَيَذْهَبُ جُفَاءً وَأَمَّا مَا يَنْفَعُ النَّاسِ فَيَمْكُثْ فِي الْأَرْضِ كَذَلِكَ يَضْرِبُ اللَّهُ الْأَمْثَالِ. This is how Allah sets example. In this verse, two examples are mentioned for the introduction of falsehood. One is the foam that appears on water, and second is the foam that covers the metal when they are melted. Now, I haven't really not seen metals being melted, but I guess there's some sort of foam that forms on top of it. But you and I can understand when water is gushing out of somewhere, you see this foam on top of it, right? That foam is what? It disappears after a while. When the water settles down, the foam is gone. Allah gives both of these examples in this ayah, Surah Ra'd, ayah number 17. He said, and He introduces falsehood. Giving this analogy, falsehood is like that foam that you see when you're melting, some sort of metal. Or when you see it appear on top of the water. Falsehood is like foam because it is perishable. It appears in the shadow of the truth. So the metal is truth, but that foam on top of it is in the shadow of it. Water is truth, but the foam on top of it is in the shadow of it. It covers the face of the truth. That's what it does. You don't see the water while the foam is on top of it. It's covering the face of it. Number 4, it has an appearance but has no value. You see it, but you can grab it in your arms, in your hands. It has no value whatsoever. What's the valuable thing? Which is underneath it. That metal is valuable. That water is valuable. But that thing which is on top of it has zero value whatsoever. It does not quench the thirst, nor does it grow a plant. This foam is useless. You can't irrigate any plant with it. It will not quench your thirst either. And lastly, it disappears when the situation calms down. It's only there when the panic is being, shown. When metal is put through some sort of, pressure. When water is gushing out with pressure, only then you see it. So therefore, it disappears once the situation calms down. Once this waterfall leaves that fall area and moves along the river banks, then you see that there's only water left and all the foam has gone away. That's what the beauty of this example that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying. So the foam goes away. The water remains. Unlike the water stays. Life of Sayyid al-Shuhada is like that water. Look at the comparison. Life of Imam Hussein is like that water. Source of life. Rescued the tree of Islam from dying and drying up. That's why the leader of freedom has remained forever. Example is of the pure tree, like pure word of haqq, which gives fruit in every season as the ayat of Quran in Surah Nur talks about. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So we look at the shahadat and the martyrdom of Imam Hussein. 2 ayat of Quran. Chapter 47, ayat number 5 says, وَالَّذِينَ قُتِلُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ فَلَنْ يُضِلَّ عَمَالَهُمْ. Whoever is martyred in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah will not make their amal go astray. وَيُصْلِحْ بَالَهُمْ وَيُدْخِلُهُمْ جَنَّةً. Allah will guide them and set their affairs right. That's what the shaheed gets in return. It's something which is important, the shaheed is getting in return. Number 2, وَمَنْ يُقَاتِلْ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. Surah Nisa 74. فَيَقْتَلْ أَوْ يَغْلِبْ فَسَوْفَ نُؤْتِيهِ أَجْرًا عَظِيمًا. That whoever is doing this qital in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is doing this jihad in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if he kills or if he's maghloob, meaning subdued, either way, فَسَوْفَ نُؤْتِيهِ أَجْرًا. They have this ajr and reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Regardless of the fact that you live to kill or you die as a martyr, you have a reward near Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then when you refer to ahadith, 6th Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salatu wasalam said, he said, فَوْقَ كُلِّ بِرٍّ بِرٌّ. On top of every righteous deed, there's a righteous deed. فَوْقَ كُلِّ بِرٍّ بِرٌّ. Bir meaning righteousness, from abrar. On top of every bir, there's a bir. On top of every good, for example, truth is good, something is on top of the truth. Iman is good, there's something on top of Iman as well. Islam is good, there's something on top of Islam as well. Smiling is good, there's something on top of his smiling. Helping someone is good, but there's something which is above and beyond helping someone. Every good deed that you can imagine, there's something that can top it. He says, فَوْقَ كُلِّ بِرٍّ بِرٌّ حَتَّى يُقْتَلُ الرَّجُلُ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. Except when a person is killed in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, فَإِذَا قُتِلَ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ فَلَيْسَ فَوْقَهُ بِرٌّ. And when a person is martyred in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then there isn't any good deed that could top that. Nothing is above and beyond that. So, person asked Rasulullah, Ma balu ash-shaheed la yuftanu fi qabrihi. Why is it that a martyr is tested in his grave? Why isn't a martyr tested in his grave? We talk about the munkar and nakir coming and questioning and testing us in the grave and fishar qabr and all of those things. Person asked, Ma balu shaheed la yuftanu fi qabrihi. Why is it that the shaheed, the riwayat mentioned, is not tested in his grave? Qala kafa bil bariqati fawqa rasihi fitnatan. He said, sword above his head at the time of his shahadat was enough of a test and bala for him that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala skips the test for him when he enters into his graveyard. That sword that was hanging on top of his head before he was martyred, that was enough of a bala and a fitna and the test for him that he no longer needs any more testing after that. Amirul Mu'mineen, Imam al-Muttaqeen, Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wasalam, he asked Rasulullah, O Rasulullah, why is it that I did not attain martyrdom after the battle of Uhud? Rasulullah responded by saying, O Ali, your shahadat is already written. You will be martyred in the best of the actions, best of the places, in the best of the months, and in the best of the conditions. How did Imam's shahadat take place? He was praying in Masjid-e-Kufa. He was praying, he was in salat, he was in halat sajda, which is the best of the actions in salat. He was in the month of Ramadan, which is the best of the months. He was in the best of the places, which is the mosque and the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He said that will be your halat when you will attain this martyrdom. So Amir al-Mu'mineen, after the shahadat of Muhammad ibn Abi Bakr, when he passed away, he wrote a letter to Abdullah ibn Abbas. And again, keeping on the same concept of martyrdom. He said, فَلَوْلَا طمعي عند لقاء عدوي في الشهادة. I'll skip the Arabic. Imam is explaining his philosophy about this martyrdom and shahada. He said, I swear by Allah, and you can find this in the letter number 35 of Amir al-Mu'mineen. After the shahada of Muhammad ibn Abi Bakr, Imam wrote this letter to Abdullah ibn Abbas. He said, I swear by Allah that had I no desire of dying as a martyr, if I didn't have the desire of attaining the martyrdom, and had I not been ready for the death awaiting me day and night, meaning what? Ali ibn Abi Talib is ready for his death. He wishes death comes upon him. I would not have liked to be amongst these people. And Imam is referring to those who took the life of Muhammad ibn Abi Bakr. He said, I would not have liked to live amongst them even for one day. I would not have come out with them to fight against the enemies of Allah and Islam if it wasn't for the martyrdom that I seek all the time. If it wasn't for this, destiny that death is always after me and martyrdom is the best thing that could ever happen to me, I would not even have looked at these people. They're not even worthy of me conversating with them. They're not even worthy of me being in their company. It's only the fact that martyrdom is mentioned that you see me alongside with these people. And therefore we ask, and we look at how Sayyid al-Shuhada, Imam Hussein ibn Ali ﷺ, also presented and gave the best example of a martyr. Now there are many martyrs in the world, but the Sayyid al-Shuhada are only a couple. This title was given to Hazrat Hamza, and then this title was given to as a closure that no one ever will get this title of Sayyid al-Shuhada than Imam Hussein ﷺ. So we should be thankful that because of that shahadat, today you and I can call ourselves to be Muslim. Today you and I can call ourselves to be Husseini. Today you and I can practice this madhab in this freedom. It would not have been the case had Imam Hussein ﷺ not given that sacrifice. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the tawfiq and ability to count us amongst those who are aligned with the objectives of Imam Hussein ﷺ. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us a life which is spent serving the cause for which Sayyid al-Shuhada Hussein ibn Ali was standing up. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if not in the battlefield, but still grant us that highest shahada, that martyrdom, as if we were amongst those who fought alongside Sayyid al-Shuhada in the battle of Karbala. Inna asl al-hadith wa ablagh al-mu'izza kitabullahi a'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim bismillahir rahmanir rahim wa la asr innal insana lafi khusr illa alladhina amanu wa 'amilus salihat wa tawasaw bil haqqi wa tawasaw bis sabr. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحليم الكريم غافر الذنب وقابل التوب وهو الغفور الرحيم سبحان من سبقت رحمته وغضب وبسط اليدين بالرحمة سبحان من لم يكلف نفسا إلا دون وسعها وعفى عن السيئات ولم يجاز بها سبحان من لا يزداد على معاصي العباد إلا كرما وجودا ولا كثرة الذنوب إلا عفوا وصفا نشهد أن لا إله إلا هو لطوف على العباد بجوده ولا بعد المذنبين بحلمه ونشهد أن محمدا نبيه وحبيبه سيد المرسلين وشفيع المذنبين بعثه رحمة للعالمين لقد أمركم الله في محكم كتابه بالصلاة على نبيه وحبيبه فقال تعليما لكم وتشريفا لصفيه إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. سيد المرسلين وشفيع المذنبين نبينا محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وعلى إمام المسلمين وقائد الغر المحجلين أمير المؤمنين علي بن أبي طالب وعلى سيدة نساء العالمين وبذة خاتم النبيين سيدتنا فاطمة بنت رسول الله وعلى الحسن المجتبى والحسين الشهيد بكربلاء وعلي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي عليهم الصلاة والسلام. اللهم صل على مولانا صاحب الزمان ما هي آثار البدع والطغيان هادم أبنة الشرك والنفاق حاسد فروع البغي والشقاق صلوات الله وسلامه عليه وعلى آبائه الكرام ما اتصلت الليالي والأيام. اللهم عجل فرجا وسهل مخرجا واكحل ناظرنا بنظرة منا إليه واجعلنا من المستشهدين بين يديه، وتفضل على أمرائنا المؤمنين بمزيد التوفيقات وازدياد الإقبال وعلو الدرجات. اللهم افعل بما أنت أهله ولا تفعل بنا ما نحن أهله، بجاه محمد وآله الطاهرين صلوات الله عليهم أجمعين. من يذكر فتنفعه ذكره، إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. الله أكبر الله أكبر، أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله، أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله، أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله، أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله، أشهد أن عليا ولي الله، أشهد أن عليا حجة الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة، حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح، حي على خير العمل حي على خير العمل. قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر، لا إله إلا الله. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، الرحمن الرحيم، مالك يوم الدين، إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين، اهدنا الصراط المستقيم، صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يسبح لله ما في السماوات وما في الأرض، الملك القدوس العزيز الحكيم. هو الذي بعث في الأميين رسولا منهم يتلو عليهم آياته ويزكيهم ويعلمهم الكتاب والحكمة وإن كانوا من قبل لفي ضلال مبين، وآخرين منهم لما يلحقوا بهم وهو العزيز الحكيم. ذلك فضل الله يؤتيه من يشاء والله ذو الفضل العظيم. مثل الذين حملوا التوراة ثم لم يحملوها كمثل الحمار يحمل أسفارا، بئس مثل القوم الذين كذبوا بآيات الله والله لا يهدي القوم الظالمين. قل يا أيها الذين هادوا إن زعمتم أنكم أولياء لله من دون الناس فتمنوا الموت إن كنتم صادقين ولا يتمنونه أبدا بما قدمت أيديهم والله عليم بالظالمين. قل إن الموت الذي تفرون منه فإنه ملاقيكم ثم تردون إلى عالم الغيب والشهادة فينبئكم بما كنتم تعملون. يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا نودي للصلاة من يوم الجمعة فاسعوا إلى ذكر الله وذروا البيع ذلكم خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون. فإذا قضيت الصلاة فانتشروا في الأرض وابتغوا من فضل الله واذكروا الله كثيرا لعلكم تفلحون. وإذا رأوا تجارة أو لهوا انفضوا إليها وتركوك قائمة. قل ما عند الله خير من اللهو ومن التجارة والله خير الرازقين. الله أكبر. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار بجاه محمد وآله الأطهار. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمد ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده رب صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر استغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده رب صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. بحول الله وقوته يقوم ويقعد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده رب صل على محمد وآل محمد. سمع الله لمن حمد. الله أكبر. ربنا افرغ علينا الصبر وثبت أقدامنا وانصرنا على القوم الكافرين بجاه محمد وآله الطاهرين. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده وبصل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. استغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. يا لطيف ارحم عبدك الضعيف. الله أكبر. الحمد لله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. السلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر.
الله ملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. تسبيح جناب فاطمة الزهراء سلام الله عليها. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أستغفر الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم الرحمن الرحيم ذو الجلال والإكرام وأتوب إليه. All of us together. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة الابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك توعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Today's Jummah lunch is being sponsored by Mr. and Mrs. Shahriyar Haider and Mr. Jafar and Mrs. Jabin Ali. Please recite a Surah Fatiha for their deceased relative as well as your Surah Fatiha. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. A lot of announcements, inshallah. This weekend, Majalis series will start tonight at 8 p.m. with Salatul Maghrib, and it will continue Saturday, starting at the same time at Salatul Maghrib at 8 p.m. and concluding on August 27th, Sunday. That Majlis will be at 5:30 p.m. and concluding with Namaz-e-Maghribain. All three of these majalis, inshallah, will be recited by Hujjat Islam, Maulana Sayyid Sulaiman Hassan Abidi. And inshallah, we look forward to all of you attending these majalis program. Couple other announcements coming up. Inshallah, on September 2nd, Saturday, from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m., there will be another blood drive after the previous one. So much energy shown by the community. We requested another one. And the email was sent out regarding that. You can sign up. There are a lot of slots that are open. So blood drive on Saturday, September 2nd, from 11 to 4 p.m. Also, I would like to share this news with you all that, Alhamdulillah, Bibi Sakina Daycare of Sadiq School is now open, and we have been granted the CO by the local officials, and alhamdulillah, we look forward to children coming in, taking advantage of this facility as well, as Sadiq School is already in place now, inshallah. This Bibi Sakina daycare will serve the community as well. Enroll. Allahumma salli. And of course, you'll see the space over there, so slots are limited definitely. But inshallah, we will be starting at September 15, as Dr. Kharaj just mentioned, texted me that opens starting September 15. So there's not much time left if you have kids of that age. Pre-kindergarten, of course, right? 2.5 to 3-year-old, you're more than welcome to sign up for that, inshallah. More details will be available, or you can just go to the registration link. You will have all the details on it, inshallah. Also, next Saturday, September 2nd, at 7:45 p.m., there will be a community workshop hosted by Masjid-e-Ali Youth, and inviting Dr. Ali Al-Hilli under the topic of exploring gender identity from an Islamic perspective. So that's an important workshop. Do not miss out on that. There's no registration fees or anything. 16 and above, all are welcome to take part in it. Interactive workshop, inshallah, September 2nd at 7:45 p.m. with Namaz-e-Maghribain. Next week also, when the series of majalis commemorating the Arba'een of Sayyid al-Shuhada, Imam Hussein ibn Ali alayhi salatu wasalam, will start. There's a request for Majlis-e-Shahadat of our 8th Imam, Imam Ali ibn Musa Rada alayhi salatu wasalam. That will be Sunday, September 3rd. Of course, starting with Namaz-e-Maghribain, 7:45. Hujjat Islam Sayyid Hussein Qazwini, who will be addressing the Arba'een Majalis, he will be speaking to that Majlis. So there's a request by the sponsors of that Majlis that you take part in the Shahadat Majlis of our 8th Imam. Tabut, inshallah, will be taken out as well. I think that's pretty much it as far as all the announcements are concerned. I hope I didn't miss anything out. Something else? Okay. Inshallah, let's recite dua-i-sihat for all those people who are in need of dua, those who are suffering, struggling, going through difficult time in their life. Many of our community members are at this moment, in hospitals or other care facilities. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alleviate their pain and bring them out of their difficulty. There's also dua-i-sihat requested for Mir Farkhunda Ali Khan. Please recite Amma Yuji with me 5 times. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Amma yujibu al-mustarra idha da'ahu yakshifu as-su. Amma yujibu al-mustarra idha da'ahu wa yakshifu as-su. Amma yujibu al-mustarra idha da'ahu wa yakshifu as-su. Amma yujibu al-mustarra idha da'ahu wa yakshifu as-su. أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء ويجعلكم خلفاء الأرض أإله مع الله قليلا ما تذكرون. الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن عليا ولي الله أشهد أن عليا حجة الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح حي على خير العمل حي على خير العمل قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله. الله أكبر بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الله أكبر سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده سمع الله لمن حمد الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. الله أكبر. أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. الله أكبر. بحول الله وقوته يقوم ويقعد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الله أكبر. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. ربنا اغفر لي ولوالدي وللمؤمنين يوم يقوم الحساب. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده. سمع الله لمن حمد. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. الله أكبر. أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. الله أكبر. الحمد لله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بحول الله وقوته يقوم ويقعد. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده. سمع الله لمن حمد. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. الله أكبر. أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. الله أكبر. بحول الله وقوته أقوم وأقعد. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده. سمع الله لمن حمد. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. الله أكبر. أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. يا لطيف ارحم عبدك الضعيف. الله أكبر. الحمد لله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. السلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر.
الله ملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. تسبيح.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أستغفر الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم الرحمن الرحيم ذو الجلال والإكرام. وأسأله أن يتوب علي توبة عبد ذليل خاضع فقير باعث مسكين مستقيم مستجير لا يملك لنفسه نفعا ولا ضرا ولا موتا ولا حياة ولا نشورا. اللهم إني أعوذ بك من نفس لا تشبع ومن قلب لا يخشى ومن علم لا ينفع ومن صدقات لا ترفع ومن دعاء لا يسمع. اللهم إني أسألك اليسر بعد العسر والفرج بعد الكرب والرخاء بعد الشدة. اللهم ما بنا من نعمة فمنك لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. اللهم صل على
Mu'minin, before the ziyarat, alhamdulillah, in our community there are a lot of Ahl Sunnah people who come and pray, especially the Jummah here. And if they're praying with their hands folded and if they're praying without sajda, that's fine, because that's how they're supposed to pray. So you don't need to intervene and tell them otherwise and whatnot. You just be more welcoming, inshallah. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala. Also, continuous reminder, don't park in the fire lane. I don't think we need to, especially for Jummah, or any in the time for that matter. Please avoid parking in the fire lane. Thank you.
Namaz is acceptable from people who don't have any limbs. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum ya Nabi, assalamu alaikum ya Amir al-Mu'minin, ya Qasim al-Jannati wal-Nar, assalamu alaikum ya Sayyid al-Alamin. Assalamu alaikum ya binti Rasulillah, ya binti Sultan al-Awsiya, ya binti Sahib al-Hawz al-Alwa. Assalamu alaikum ya binti man araja al-Sama wa sallallahu qawbisa wa sallallahu qawba qawsani udna. Assalamu alaikum ya binti Nabi al-Hura wa Sayyid al-Hura wa mankat al-ibad min al-zirarat al-rida. Assalamu alaikum ya binti akram al-alamin hasbam wa afzalihim نسوام وأجملهم منظرا وأسخاهم كفا وأشجعهم قلبا وأكملهم حلما وأكثرهم علما وأسودهم أصلا وأعلاهم ذكرا وأسناهم زخرا وأحمدهم وصفا. السلام عليكم بنت من شرفت به مكة ومنى. السلام عليكم بنت بحر العلوم وكافي الفقراء. السلام عليكم بنت من ولد الكعبة والزوج بالسماء. السلام عليكم بنت السلطان الأولياء وسيد الأولياء. السلام عليكم بنت سار الله وابن ساره. السلام عليكم بنت سيد الشهداء. السلام عليكم بنت سيد شباب أهل الجنة. السلام عليكم أية الفاضلة الصغيرة أية الكريمة النبية أية المظلومة الشهيدة. السلام عليكم بنت فاطمة الزهراء سيد نساء العالمين. السلام عليكم بنت خديجة الكبرى أم المؤمنين. السلام عليكم سكينة بنت الحسين رحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليكم صاحب العصر والزمان يا خليفة الرحمن يا إمام الإنس والجان يا كعبة الإيمان يا تفسير الفرقان. السلام عليكم السلام عليكم شريك القرآن. السلام عليكم إمام زماننا أجل الله فرجه وسار الله فرجه وزورك ورحمة الله وبركاته.